Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Truth Will Set You Free show. This show is brought to you by TLBTV and the Liberty Beacon Project. I'm your host, Diane Wattley, and I am excited, as usual, with my special, unique guest. My guest today, Lil Barcaski.
Close enough.
Tell me what it is.
Yeah, Barcaski.
Barcaski.
Beautiful.
And that's Italian?
No, my family name is Bonafiglio, which means good son. In English, you'd say Bonfiglio. But yeah, I'm Italian, Russian, and Polish. So
I'm going to say Lil B.
Yeah. It's a B, that's true, yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wow, she is an amazing person. She's very busy. She has been known as a serial entrepreneur. That's because she has her hands in everything. She is a playwright, musician. You like to sing and play drums.
I do.
For a band in your hometown?
Yeah, right now I just play once a month with a friend of mine that I used to play with all the time. Because I just don't have time to be in a band on a regular basis, but yeah. Even
though she don't use the term humanitarian, I believe she is, because she wants people to be happy and to enjoy their lives. It's important to her because the little bit that I have learned about you, you are giving everything that you have to touch somebody's life. And I was seeing where you have this, it's somewhere where young people can go to learn how to act.
I did that for many years. I studied acting with some really fine people. I went to NYU. And for a lot of years while I was living pretty permanently in Dunedin, Florida, I ran a little actor studio where people could come for free and take some classes and just sort of work on scene studies, and then they would be in plays. And we did a lot of original plays too. Some of mine, some
amazing. And it was nonprofit, right?
Mm-hmm. We still own the nonprofit, and my friend Gina Marie Michelini runs it up in New Jersey now, and she does stuff where she works with young people to help them get into music programs and things like that. So they have reason to live. Really, she gives them a lot of hope to. Helps them find people who can mentor them and gives them money and scholarships and things. She's really terrific. So and she's taking over the nonprofit and running out of New Jersey soon. So,
but you just don't stop there. You have your own business, web consultant.
I actually own two businesses. I own solely. I own a web development company. We design and develop websites, and we write content and that sort of thing. And then I'm the co-owner of The Ghost Publishing, which is a ghostwriting company. We primarily write books for other people. We ghostwrite books. We blog for others, and we write web content for people. And we teach people how to write and become ghostwriters as well. We have a whole course that we're working toward to teach people to do what we do, because it's a phenomenal career. Surprisingly, a lot of work in the field. So looking for teachers and entrepreneurs and maybe stay-at-home moms who want a wonderful career. It's a great career. So we'll be rolling that course out in a couple of months.
So when you say a ghostwriter, you're saying that you're actually writing somebody else's book? What's the difference in that and an editor?
A very big difference. So we edit books as well, but we write primarily business books, even though sometimes you write for pastors or sometimes you write something that has a memoir feel to it. Primarily, it's people who want to write a book who are in business so that they can increase their business, so they can be seen as the expert in their field. And they don't have time to write a book. They really have no idea how to begin to write a book. So what we do is we work with them to outline a book. Once we have the outline really solidly down, chapter by chapter, we work with them to write the book. We interview them for each chapter and let them just kind of talk about their business, and then we turn it into a book.
Wow.
So we do that rather regularly. And then we also edit books. We either developmentally edit a book, which means somebody's got a lot of material already, and we kind of mold that into and shape it into a book. Or somebody's got something that's in pretty good shape, when we'll just do a line edit or a basic proofreading kind of the book and make sure it's ready, and then we'll help them publish it. We do publish it.
How did you take such a strong interest in writing like that?
Well, I've been writing since I'm a kid. I always tell this story on pretty much everything, but when I was a kid, I wrote all the time, and I used to keep journals, and I would write poems, and I'd write stories and things like that. And I signed each entry M.E., me, right, instead of my name. And getting to senior year, I think it was senior year, one of my very best friends was supposed to be journaling all year, didn't do it. Got to senior year, got to the end of the year, and she crying in our band room, what am I going to do? I don't have anything to turn in. And I said, well, here, take a couple of these with you because it signed me. Your teacher will never know the difference. And she did. And the teacher told her that this was her path, that she should be a writer and she'd be wasting her time to do anything else but become a writer because it was my work. So that was pretty cool. And I've taken a lot of writing classes over the years and things.
So, okay, how did you decide that you wanted to write plays?
You know, I don't think you decide to write plays. I think it decides you. I was always very interested in theater. You know, I love the theater. I've been going since I'm a kid. I was later in life, I thought I should write a plays. I don't know what happened. I got the idea that I tried to write novels. I suck at that. I'm pretty good at nonfiction books, I think, anyways. You've read my book. But I like dialogue. I like to write dialogue. And I just was running a theater company. I thought I should be writing plays for this theater company. It's ridiculous. And so I wrote a 45-minute play, about 45 minutes, and we produced it. And everyone liked it. And that was cool. And I just kept going from there. So.
You're not talking about that one with the chicken.
Oh, the man in the chicken, that's just I had a bad dream. I don't know what happened. Bad hamburger. So, yeah, I wrote a couple of crazy movies called The Man and His Chicken. But no, the first one was in a restaurant. I've always worked in restaurants when I wasn't, you know, writing because you were playing music. You have to work somewhere. And it was set in a restaurant in our town. And the lady who's one of the waitresses who was kind of a character in the play came to watch it. She cried and everything. She was all excited. She was in this, you know, scene in this play. And so I've written a lot of little short plays, but mostly I'm a long form writer. In fact, tomorrow night we are reading through my new play. I'm very excited about that. I have 4 actors coming to read the play aloud so I can hear it and make changes. And it's a drama. It's my first serious play. Usually I write comedy with a lot of drama involved, but this is a straight up drama. So.
But you have a serious goal with that playwriting. What do you call it? The Pulitzer?
I want a Pulitzer Prize, baby. One of these days.
That's a nice goal for you, especially because you said you like to write about your life and the life of people who have touched your life. Mm-hmm. But it could be serious issues, but you always put a humor spin on it.
Yeah, usually I do. And there's a character in this coming play that you might think is humorous at the beginning a little bit. You might laugh a little at the character because it's an outlandish character who does not turn out to be so outlandish in the end. So it's a very serious turn of events.
You really got me with your dad because, wow, you and your dad, would you say y'all were pretty close?
We were very close, yeah, we really were. We weren't all my life as much, but we became very close at the end. My mom died rather young and left my dad with me, and he wasn't very healthy. And I always say that, oh God, I was 30-something when my mom died, and my dad was not well. He just, he had an episode in his 40s where he was sick for an entire summer, 11 weeks, and his appendix burst. And he actually at one point died on the table. They told my mom he was dead. And a doctor cut a gash in his chest from the back, reached in and massaged his heart, and brought him back to life. He saw himself lift up out of his body and could see himself on the table. You could see the doctor doing it from the corner of the ceiling. He actually had that thing that people say when you lift out of your body. So, and then they brought him back to life. He was 40 at the time, and he lived to be 80-something. So the guy did a pretty good job. But yeah, I wound up with him toward the end of his life. And I always say I lost my mother to find my father, because I don't think we would ever have been as close. So.
Wow. He also
take care of each other. Those are the last words she ever uttered.
But you're kind of a miracle too, aren't you? Because from what I'm understanding, it was between you or your mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mom. They told my dad that they could save one of us, and he said save my wife. I don't blame him. I would have said the same thing. But we lucked out and both of us lived, and she couldn't really have any other kids. So I'm an only child. So that was it.
Wow, you're the only one.
I'm the only one. Yeah.
But you were saying your grandma practically raised you, though, right?
This is a true story, kind of weird, but true. My father's only brother jumped off the Empire State Building when I was 6, which sent him into a tailspin, which may be another reason I write. And it was very difficult for my mom to deal with him at that time. He was struggling, and she had enough on her hands to deal with him. and she thought it was safer and better for me to live with my grandmother. So I went to live with my grandmother all week long, and my grandfather was away during the week in North Carolina, fixing a factory. He was helping them revisit that and make it right. So I would be alone with her from Monday through Friday, and then weekends I kind of bounced back and forth between them and my parents. And my father eventually settled down, and they moved into the house across the street from my grandparents. We all lived in on the same block, most of them across the street from each other my whole life. So it worked out pretty well in the long run.
And you are from New Jersey, and you live.
I am.
You're proud about New Jersey.
Jersey's all right, man. Jersey's great. People don't realize how great it is. It's a cool state.
It sounds like to me it allows for people to express themselves because you're very outspoken, expressive of yourself, and it seems like you kind of tie that with New Jersey.
It's a thing. I mean, Jersey people tell you the truth. They'll do anything for you, but they're straight shooters, you know. Right up there.
But you are such a caring and giving person. I was curious about your recent book.
So my recent book started as a joke. So years and years ago, because you know, I'm gay. I kind of consider myself queer because I don't really I'm not really big on the whole gay lifestyle. Like I don't do a lot of gay bars and gay parades and so that sort of thing. My energy is more masculine than feminine, I think. So in that regard, and I've dated a lot of girls who were espoused that straight to begin with and changed their mind. And I did that more than one time. And people start to make a joke that I should write a book. You know, why are women leaving you for me? Like it's a joke. Like to tell guys, cut it out. You're losing these girls. Give them back. So it started as a gag, and down the line, I met the girl I'm going to marry this year, and I've been married. I was married for 13 years to another young lady, but it didn't work out as much as I wish it had. But in the long run, we weren't right for one another. So yeah, I wish her well. She does her thing, but you know, we tried, we did our best, but we broke up, and yeah, I started writing the books, and I was still dating a lot of women, and women say to me all the time, like, if I was gay, I would be with you. Like, well, thanks, I guess. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but all right. So it started as a gag, and I mapped it out. I outlined the book, and I said, this could be really fun, you know. And I see so many young guys like struggling, like, you know, I look at the women I've dated and the men they tried to date and how epic fails, guys, epic fail, you know, like you're just a mess. And I thought maybe I could speak to young guys, you know, and say, okay, you know, what are you doing here? Like, what's going on that you can't keep these women, that they're coming to me or they're giving up? And it's not even, when I say leaving you for me, it's not me. It's the idea of leaving that person. Like, I'm not that great. But, you know, that they're leaving men for their jobs, their cat, their dog, their forget it, I'll just watch sports on the weekend and, you know, sit at the bar. I mean, anything but date guys that are just not worth bothering about. And they're so disappointed in their relationships so often that it's sad. I see guys just failing, and I think guys want to be in relationships. I think they want to come home to a nice woman, but they have the wrong idea of what that means or what that's supposed to look like or how to find it, or maybe even how to be the person that, you know, deserves that in a sense or is ready to have it, you know. You can't hold the thing in your hands if your hands aren't out and open and you don't know how to hold it, right? So this book is kind of fun and it's silly, but at the same time, I give them pointers on everything from shoes to sex. So
right. From the kitchen to the bed.
From the kitchen to the bedroom, yeah, a little bit of everything, you know, just here's some stuff you can do, you know.
But tell them the name of your book.
Why Your Women Are Leaving You For Me and How to Get Them Back. So it's about how to get them back. So.
And you also said since the age of 25, you have not actually been in a not have to go without being in a serious relationship.
I've never been single since I can remember. It doesn't work out.
But you also give both of your fathers credit for that?
Yes. Yeah, I did.
So what was, between the two of them, what was you remembering that was crucial in a relationship with a woman?
She's just everything. My grandfather was a consummate Italian man, but my grandmother had a very bad accident before I was born, and she was crippled in one leg, and he never complained. He would wipe down the walls in the house. He painted, he did everything he needed to do. He sometimes did the shopping. I never saw him disrespect her or us, you know. He was a very loving guy. He was very open, very warm, very kind. And at the same time, he was very strong. You couldn't get away with bullshit with my grandfather. You were going to get it done. My dad was a hardhead a lot, Russian Polish, a lot more stiff, than my grandfather. But at the same time, tons of fun. And I mean, did things like if we were on vacation, my mother never had to look for a cup of coffee in the morning. He'd go down and get coffee. He'd go down and get something to make sure she was happy. He was just always there when you needed him. You know what I mean? He was a strong guy. And after she died, we got even closer, and I got to understand him even better, and how he didn't have a prejudice bone in his body. He didn't have my next book's about prejudice, actually, the book I'm working on now. My father saw no color. He saw no ethnicity. He saw no nothing. Rich, poor, white, black, gay, straight, Jewish, Catholic. He didn't see any of it. Person. That's how he looked at people, as people, So I learned a lot from both of them. I learned a lot of things from both of them, but I learned to open doors and, be genteel and be, I like to tell the story. One of the first dates with my girlfriend, my fiance, I inadvertently ordered her food when the waiter came. She told me what she wanted, and I wasn't really thinking, and that's her now, actually. And, thinking me. And I said, "Oh yeah, I'll have she'll have the steak or whatever. I'll have whatever." And then and as he walked away, I looked at her like, "Oh my God!" I said, "I'm sorry, I wasn't really thinking. Like that was kind of rude of me." And she looked at me doe-eyed. She's like, "Will you always do that?" And I said, "If you want me to." Like, he said, "Okay." And she's like, "My grandmother always told me that a gentleman would order your food, and it's never happened to me before. It's the first time anybody had ever done it." And I was like, well, yeah, whereas my ex-wife, that would have made her, insane. Like she was her own person. Don't do things to me. I got it, So you have to find the person that fits, I guess, the dynamic that works for you, that makes sense,
So do you feel that for a relationship to reach its peak as far as special and commitment, you have to be married?
No, I don't. It wouldn't kill me if we didn't get married, but I think we want to be married. That's something we feel we want to do. So, we're going to do that. It is not necessarily for everybody. I think it's more about being committed and being. I just think that marriage, it's a bond. You're saying in front of a whole lot of people you love, I mean this. This is the person I want to be with. So I think maybe it has a tendency to make you try harder, and I think trying harder is the thing. If we can't, if we, I think that's the problem. I think people give up too quickly altogether, and in some senses, I think men give up more quickly far sooner than women. I've been watching this crazy show with my friend here, so I'm visiting, and she watches one of those like Love on Paradise Island things or something, and these people come and go, and they come and go, and they come and go, and I really like you, I'm going to be with you, and then somebody new comes in, and they do it to screw you up. Oh, I think I'd like to go on a date with you. Oh, I'm sorry. They're up, and it's like, well, you guys, like, and the guys are the worst. Like, the girls are crying, don't know, he's not coming back to me. He has 2 weeks. You don't even know each other. People don't get to know each other well. They don't take the time. I think pretty much right away if somebody's kind of enough for you to take the next step to continue to know them, but you have to spend some time. My fiance's grandmother told her, don't get serious and move with anybody for a year, because in a year they're going to show their colors. Most people can't make it past a year before they start to turn, and they can't hold up the phony for more than a year. That's a long time if they can do it that long. So,
And one of the things that you emphasized in your book was the role that the mother plays in the pros and cons of development of the men.
Yeah.
It's almost like a two-edged sword the way you explained it, though.
It is. I mean, it's understandable. I don't blame men for their mistakes. I understand why. We're building this mess, The society's building it, particularly for white men, I think, more than anything. But they're building it in a big way. And one of my best friends is my sister from another mister is a Jamaican, and her family's Jamaican. And she said her Jamaican mother just spoiled the crap out of her older brother. And the father was out of the picture, and she sort of made him like the surrogate boyfriend. And he's a mess. He can't get it together. He's like 50. He can't he hasn't dated someone seriously. Can't keep a job. He's just mommy spoiled the crap out of him. So she said, and I agree that the old adage of mothers raise their daughters and date their sons, and that's a problem that mothers have to start to watch, and to not spoil them and have them go looking for mommy instead of looking for a wife, and to know the difference between those two things. And that's something the book addresses quite a bit. And knowing how to be a father and not just slough that off on your wife or your girlfriend.
But what I really liked from your perspective about it was how you broke down how the man is looking for someone who makes them feel safe, nurtured, takes care of them, make all the decisions, tell them no.
No.
But at the same time, once they get this, it takes away from the sexual experience.
Well, no one wants to have sex with their mother. At least I hope they don't.
Right. I never thought about that.
Right.
So
Really?
how do you get a balance there?
Well, for one thing, you have to start thinking about your responsibilities in a relationship, right? So men who expect their wives to do all the cooking, do the laundry, take care of the children, and sometimes even go to work as well. And then they want to come home and turn on the video game or the TV set and watch a football game and wait till dinner's served. You could take a freaking look at yourself. Look at yourself. Don't even ask. Do the laundry. Learn how. It's not that hard. Okay. Say, honey, on Saturdays I'm going to do all the laundry. My dad did all the laundry on our house. My mother never did laundry. The laundry was in the basement. My mom would make a thing about, I don't want to go down the basement. It's kind of musty down there. Oh, don't worry, honey, I got it. My dad learned to cook. He got to be a really good cook. Cooking is fun. I've cooked a lot in my life for a living, and it's great fun. And men can learn how. It's not that hard. Decide that you're going to surprise her and say, 2 nights a week, I'm going to do the cooking, and I'll do the laundry on Saturdays, get it all together, or Thursday night, Sunday morning, whatever it is. Make some decisions to be part of the team. You're a team. And you're not the captain and she's the slave. And that's a mistake. And that's what mothers do because they spoil their boys. They let their boys get away with doing everything. My friend Gina, I was just telling you about the Arts Foundation. Her younger brother was only a year younger than her, but even through high school, she was meant to go home and she had to make him sandwiches when he got home, make him snacks. He was 13, 14, 15 years old. He could make a peanut butter and jelly. I mean, come on. And she had to do that all through high school. I love Tony. We were bands together. I love him to death, but he's way spoiled compared to Gina. Now, Gina has always been the one who had to pick up all the pieces and do all the stuff because she was the oldest daughter and was expected of her. And it's still to this day is kind of expected of her. And that dynamic doesn't change. So you have to change it yourself. You have to look at yourself and say, why am I not interested in sex with my wife? And a lot of men aren't. And it's not because they're gay. They just sort of lose interest because it's too hard. It takes too much work. They have to, they have to actually be nice. They have, you have to. If you want to have a good experience, you got to look at your own. You have to take a good look at yourself now.
And you had used a word I had never heard of before, misogynist.
Misogynist.
Yeah. What exactly is that?
A misogynist is Donald Trump. There you go. Donald Trump is a misogynist. I mean, he's the epitome of what a misogynist is, right? And we accept that about him because apparently enough people are okay with him being who he is. But a misogynist is someone who just really looks down on women, doesn't see women as equals, wants to, tells women to do what they, this is what you're going to do. Looks at them as objects, and doesn't look at them as individuals that are equal to them in any way, shape, or form. So misogyny is a lot of men are that way, I think, because they've been trained to believe, and it's not their fault. Maybe it's not even Donald's fault. I'm sure his parents trained him to believe this. Maybe his father was that way and his mother allowed that to happen. And maybe that's how he became who he became. But he doesn't treat women like equals or has a concern for them, to say things like grab them by the pussy or this kinds of things. It's the kind of thing a misogynist says because he's been trained to not believe that women are of value. They're only of value as sexual objects. They're of value because they can cook your meals and have sex with you. That's all they're good for. And they're disposable, and you can just change them out and get a new one whenever you feel like it. And that's unfortunately happens a lot. So, especially with rich white men, they don't have too much trouble switching on girls.
That's where that narcissistic mental mind comes in at when dealing with relationships, because you were saying that that really hinders relationships too. That almost sound like the same thing.
Well, maybe,
Being narcissistic, narcissist.
Narcissistic, yes.
Yeah.
And narcissists can be, a lot of women are narcissists too, A misogynist pertains to men. A narcissist could be anyone.
Okay, but it's the same type of personality.
Himself as the most important
right
thing. Everything else is unimportant, and their reflection is the most beautiful one in the pond. So that's the narcissist.
So was you saying it literally that men are afraid of women?
Oh yeah. The more I talk to men, the more I realize over the years how women scare the crap out of men. I think women make decisions. They're very strong. And I think that's why men sometimes try to overpower. I think that's why rape happens. I think a lot of times men are just trying to gain power where they can't find it any other way. Women are powerful. They know what they want. They can live without a guy. They do it. They're fine. I don't think men can live without women anywhere near as much as women can live without men. They'll live on their own. They'll get a dog. They'll get a good job, and they find their friends and they have their social activities, and they're okay. And men just, when the woman's gone, they crap out. They just don't know what to do. So I think they're just I think men are afraid of the power that women have emotionally that they can't grasp a hold of, and they can't force them to feel a certain way or do what they want them to do. And that's a very strong power. They can force them to have sex with them if they want to overpower them physically. They can hit them or beat them, but they can't physically overpower them. But they can't mentally overpower them. It's hard to break a woman. You got to really work at it.
So what do you think is the main reason why women are steering away from them?
From men?
Yes.
I think women have come into a place where they're starting to realize that they can do this without them if they don't, want to be bothered. I think most women want men. They want to have a man. They want to have that relationship. But there are growing numbers of women, I think, who are just thinking, I would rather have nothing than suffer. I'd rather have nothing than be constantly chasing after this guy or trying to make him love me or trying to make him pay attention to me or just so much as pick his socks up. I'm tired of it. And they just walk. They can get jobs. Women are still making maybe 75 cents to $1 now. It's a little better. It's come up a little bit. So there's a little bit more. There's opportunity for women. I think Obama made a big difference in the last, even George Bush. I think the last 10, 15, 20 years, women have started to get more attention. They're getting into CEO positions and they're starting their own businesses. And there's a lot of nice, I'll tell you what, I admire, don't laugh, Mary Kay. That woman was something else. I mean, she got a lot of women to get the hell out of the house. And she found a way for women who wouldn't have no education, didn't have anything, to find a way to make a living. Even if it's door to door, pulling a briefcase full of mascara, they made a way to make a living. And there's a lot of businesses like that now. So women don't necessarily need a man to pay their bills. They don't need a man to do much of anything. And why raise children with a guy who's not going to be there anyway? And I think you see so many, and this is a problem too. Men are being raised a lot by women by themselves, which is not the guy's fault and not the best scenario. If you have a brother or an uncle or father, it's good to have a male influence with a young man, But if it can't be, it's better to have no influence than a bad one. And I think that's what women are starting to see. They don't want their sons to grow up or their daughters to be abused or to have these guys in the house that are just, making a mess. So they walk away and they do their own thing. And they couldn't do that in the 50s or even the 60s and 70s to some degree. But they can now, and they do.
And, I was wondering too, people are in such survival mode. Where do love come in at anymore?
I don't know. It's impressive when you find it, and I think parents love their children. I think especially mothers love their children. And I think dads love their children too. They just don't always know how to express it. And that's what I was trying to say in some of this book too, is get in the game, guys. They're your kids too. They're not just her kids. But I think it's really hard to express love in an environment where everyone's on Facebook, no one's talking to one another. you know, you go to a restaurant and you look around. Next time you go to a restaurant, look around. Look around you, left and right.
Everybody got
They're
that
all having
phone in
fun.
front
They're
of them.
taking pictures of the food. They're talking to each other. They're looking at Facebook. You're sitting across from a human being. Put the damn phone down. I won't take my phone in the restaurants anymore.
I don't
If I
blame
go out
them.
with my wife, my girlfriend, I won't do it. I want her to talk to me. We went out. Funny, just before I left home, I had to come down here to Florida for a little bit. I took her to a nice dinner at a nice restaurant, and we were laughing because we had no phones with us, obviously, and the music's playing, and all the music was breakup songs. We're like, what is going on? You know, but it was something to laugh about. We were able to pay attention to go, is the chef having a problem in the kitchen? Like, is his girlfriend left her? Like, because they were running like all these sad breakup songs. We're like, this is terrible, you know. But we had a conversation. We talked to each other. You have to be able to do that, and that's lost. That's starting to be terribly lost. That's a problem. You know?
Well, tell me, like, even for you, would you say that that love at first sight thing has gone out the window? Or
I fell in love with her at first sight. True story. So.
really?
Yeah, so this is way before we started dating, and I think I that's it. You know, I know it when I see it. My fiance's mother is a friend of mine, and I've known her for a long time. She's a musician, a very good one, and she was playing at this little wine bar that we used to go to all the time, and she introduced a girl up onto the stage in the little backyard there, and she said, and now, you know, this girl's coming up. Didn't have the same last name, didn't really look like her, didn't even consider it could be her daughter, not in a million years. And she got up to sing, and I thought, oh my goodness, I've never heard a voice like that in my life, you know, and just taken with her immediately. And she got off the stage, and I stammered, tried to say something to her. I was like, you're done, nothing done.
Oh my God, you from New Jersey couldn't talk?
Well, no, I was flabbergasted because I have a perfect ear, so like to hear somebody sing that way was unbelievable. And she doesn't want to sing, it's not her thing, but she can belt it out like nobody's business, even better than her mom. And then I didn't see her for a while, and then she started working at that same wine bar, and we started hanging out a little bit. And at that point, I was like, you know, okay, you know, she had a boyfriend, not off limits, whatever. I thought she had a boyfriend, she did, but we just started hanging out, and my friends all liked the place, so we went there quite often. And I used to go there with a girl that I knew very well and didn't really know too many people, so she thought that was my girlfriend. It wasn't my girlfriend. And finally, after talking in fact, I had a couple of episodes where I went and talked to her about very personal stuff, and you know, just got to be very friendly with her. And one night she said to me, "Is that your girlfriend?" And I was like, "Oh, hell no," you know. And she's like, "Then, you know, like you and me." I'm like, "Oh, okay, we can make that happen." And so yeah, so she kind of eventually she came, you know, she's the one who put it out there more than I did. I guess I probably would never have, because I just, you know, that's not my way. So she approached me and said, "Is that your girlfriend?" I was like, "No." She said, "Then, you know, let's do it. What about you and I?" Like, okay. And that pretty much started. We had a tumultuous first year, and then eventually just kind of settled into it. And, you know, here we are. So, but she's something else. She's real different. But yeah, I think that was love at first sight. And I do think sometimes, you know, you recognize someone from maybe a past life or some spirit somewhere, and you see that person, and you know that's a friend, or it's a, you know, lover, or it's going to be somebody that's important in your life, even if it's for a little while, you know. So I don't know.
So you're gonna get married?
So yeah.
Wow.
So she tells me. I said, so she tells me.
Oh, that's nice, though. I was also wanted to ask you, like, you seem to me you were fortunate or blessed to come up in a foundation where you were free to be yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that's one of the key factors that's affecting a lot of the relationships. People are not brought up to be a person, let alone a girl or a boy, but to have an identity, to be a person. Because that was one of the most important things, because I was widowed young and I had to bring up two sons. And the most important thing for me was them to know who they were. Right. So that when they went out in the world didn't tell them, they told the world. And I think a lot of people are so busy pursuing money and prestige and keeping up with the Joneses that they'll hand them a microwave meal, give them a credit card, you know, go to the mall or whatever, but they're not taking the time out to make sure that child knows who he or she is. And I think that catches up a lot in relationships.
I think we come from a generation where we didn't know who we were for the most part. And the children of today are being raised by people who were floundering to begin with. And they didn't know, they either latched onto heavy, heavy religion that told them to walk this straight and narrow line that no one can walk, and they're desperate and they're ruined because of it. Or they were like told, just do whatever you want, and that, that's, or the majority of them, like you say, and also tied into religion is money. And make money, be the best one in the church, be the one that everyone looks to in the church, be the family that everyone admires. And that's a problem. And it's not religion, it's not godly, that's business. You have to separate out religion from business, and you can't, because today's religions are big, big businesses. My ex's family was so hyped on trying to be the #1 family in the church and to look the best and have everyone think they were the best family, and they were falling apart left and right. No one knew it. They just couldn't hold it together, and it's a shame. And I think it destroyed her. I think it, in a sense, it destroyed all 5 of them, but it didn't destroy them it destroyed them in different ways, and they don't know who they are. And it took, some of them do, some of them don't, but most of them have no idea who they are. And they're trying desperately to figure that out. I don't think their parents knew who they were. So you have to define yourself first so you can define your children. To help your children find themselves, you have to know who you are. I suspect you know who you are.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't take much to figure. It's a light in your eye. You can see, like, your parents let you become who you want to be. So you can't fault someone when you're told to hold on to something, and if you just do what this says, you're going to be. This book tells you what to do. Well, no book tells you what to do.
Right.
There's no book in the world that tells you what to do. There's an interpretation of everything. So.
Well, actually, your book, what it does is it just shows you a natural process.
Here's some ideas. Here's some things.
It's not heavy, but it's very enlightening to a person who's missing a few pieces to the whole puzzle.
Yeah. Well, I hope it's enlightening to some guys who really, actually, genuinely want to do better. And they say, well, I'm not doing really well with women. What's going on? Where am I falling apart? What can I do to do better? And to be a stand-up guy and maybe have a nice girl like me and work it out. That would be nice.
But like another thing you said too that people tend to do with boys is bring in them having sexual activity to prove that they're men, and that's not a good ideal either.
No, and that's been going on for centuries. I mean, I think that's always been the thing. Yeah.
I think it do a lot of damage for some who's not really ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so when they do have intimacy, that crossing over part is not comfortable for them. To get in touch with another person, because it's almost like a duty. It's not like a emotional tying together.
No.
And so then you start that trend process through your relationships.
One of my best friends, Mike, he had a son a little later in life, so he's quite a bit older than his son, and his son is an absolute gem. And when he finally started to have sex, he was ready to have sex, he came to his dad and told him. And he was able to talk to his dad and say, listen, I think my girlfriend and I are ready to make this next move. I'm like 17 years old now. He was oh my God. He goes, oh my God, But he didn't freak out, and he didn't tell him no. And he helped him through the process of that. And the kid had been dating for over a year, the same girl, and he's a very steadfast kid. He's a terrific kid. He raised one of the best kids I've ever seen in my whole life. And just absolute gentleman, absolute genteel, sweet, handsome, wonderful young man, my nephew is. He's like a nephew to me. And he did it right. When the kid was ready to have sex, he wasn't afraid to talk to dad about it. He wasn't scared. It wasn't going to be a problem. We put all this taboo on it, and that's crazy. Kids are going to want to have sex. You just have to, get through it with them and make sure that they are safe and they're using protection and they understand diseases can happen, and, that how to take their time with it and all that sort of thing,
But you also kind of identify sex as transference of energy.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. That's really all it is.
What do you mean by that?
Physical, sex, I mean, that's great, but what good is that? How good does it feel when you have sex with somebody that you have no real interest in, that you have no connection to, and that you have no, honest bond with in any way, right? And sometimes the bond doesn't have to be like, I'm going to marry you. Just something about your spirit and that person's spirit, even if it's for one night, feels correct, right? So we are nothing but energy. That's all we are. We're walking balls of energy. So if you can lift up your own energy and know how to control your energy, and you can focus that energy when you're having sex with somebody, because you want to give them part of your energy and have them give it back to you, it's a completely different experience. It's a completely different experience. It's kind of a way of concentrating. Like sometimes you get lost in sex, you're having sex and you start thinking about, did I turn the stove off? Something you have to do at work tomorrow or whatever. And then you lose that connection. It's like an energetic connection. It's like when two electrical wires touch each other and like, that sing you get, and then sometimes when you're like, oh shit, I forgot something at work, it's like you pulled one of the wires away and you lose connection and you don't feel it anymore. Now you're just mechanical. Now it's just a thing, right? You might as well be, on a ride. But it's not the same. And so if you can start to focus your energy and keep your energy focused for as long as you can and move that energy through to the other person, mind-blowing. What the difference is mind-blowing. Yeah.
I was just wondering too, because you were saying how women are kind of exhausted in trying to connect with men anymore. So they go into their careers, like you said, they get a cat, or they'll go into a sexual relationship with someone of the same sex.
That happens too, yeah.
But that was not really their identity. So how do you think the person who they usually wouldn't have anything to do with, but because they're tired, they come to that other side of life?
I think women are sexually fluid more than men are, and it's acceptable more than men are to consider a woman being with another woman. I think that women are emotional. They are loving and gentle, and when another woman is there for them, it could turn into that kind of relationship without a super lot to happen, because it just does. And doesn't necessarily mean it's for a lifetime or whatever, but sometimes it does. And I think it is because, like I said, women want connection, and women connect with one another really well. If there's even the slightest emotional connection that could roll over into a sexual connection, it's not surprising that it happens. It is more surprising for men because it's more of a taboo with men. We think of two men together and we don't think, oh, that's not that big a deal. It feels like it's a bigger deal. The men feel there's a stigma on that, like they're not supposed to feel like that. They're not men. If they don't want to screw around with women, they're not men. And sometimes, I harken back to, I love the show Friends. And I don't remember the episode, but Joey and Ross fell asleep on a couch and they were cuddling. And they woke up and they were like spooning. And it felt really good. And they're like, and they looked at each other and, oh my God. They liked it. It was like, that was a connection. They had a connection there, So it didn't mean they were going to have sex, but it was, oh my goodness, like that couldn't happen. If two women slept in the same bed and spooned, they wouldn't think much about it, So I think that happens. I think that women, when they're lonely and they want to connect with somebody, and someone is the right person. It doesn't have to be the right gender. It has to be the right person. And a person comes along that makes sense to them and feels right to be with. They're not afraid to give it a shot, I guess, is what it is. And if they feel like their dog is making them happier, then they'll stay home with the dog and worry about the dog more than some guy that's not going to be nice to them. They want to be treated nicely. We've lost kindness, is what we've lost. We have lost kindness. Where did it go? This is the worst. I can't believe what I'm living through. This last year and a half, 2 years, we have thrown kindness out the window. We've kicked open the door to, this is who we are. We don't like anyone. We don't like anyone who's different from us, and we're going to just spit it out there and make sure everybody knows. We've lost kindness. Yes. So I'm working on a book called The Hierarchy of Hatred: Women, Blacks, and Browns. The Hierarchy of Hatred in America. Because I think that's really where we stand. We are becoming a country that is letting our freak flag fly about how much hatred we have for women and Black people and people of color of any kind, because we just look down on them if we're not white and male. And we need to talk about why and start to understand each other and make, and I want to put some humor in it. It's going to have a lot of funny stuff in it, but we have to start looking at it humorously. Like, We can't keep this hatred up before we just fall apart. We're just going to break into small pieces. Now it's got to stop at some point. So I'm working on that book right now.
So, like you were saying, women are pretty much, you have to be careful with anybody once they get tired.
Yeah.
Because what is real at that point?
I don't know. Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, you're over there, I'm over here, I'm tired, so let me.
I'm tired for this, yeah.
I mean, and then you're going to try to turn this into something special. And then when you're not tired anymore, you happen to one day get your energy back, your confidence back, and now you're ready to go.
Right. True.
Quite sure that happens too, don't it?
It does. I'm sure it does. I think we're all exhausted. Frankly,
I agree. So, after reading your book, realizing almost like, don't want to say they're pitiful, but it's not far from it. And some things it just seem like, oh my God, is there any hope?
There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of great guys in the world.
I mean, are they going to do the work? Because like you said, they have to grow up.
No. And we have to stop bashing them. This book does not in any way bash men.
I know you didn't, not one time.
Not one time, because I don't want to do that. I like guys. I think guys, most young guys especially, they want something better. They're just, they're off base, and it's not their fault. It's the fault of their parents. It's the fault of society. It's sending them the wrong signals and the wrong messages, and they need to get a few right messages from people like my fathers who would have taught them some things. And maybe yours, who would have taught them some things and said,
but you definitely have reached out to them. You had compassion and empathy for them. It's like you covered every area that applied to a woman's fulfillment. And the sexual part, it was just the least of your concern, but yet it had a powerful closure.
Good. I gave away a few trade secrets I probably shouldn't have, but I'm kind of I identify with them. I have made all the same mistakes growing up. I had to learn a lot of stuff myself. I'm just older and smarter, and I'm at a point where I can teach them a couple things, and so they don't trip over the same rocks I did. And I'm happy to help them. If their fathers won't, well, hell, I will.
Right.
Happy to be their dads too.
So, okay, what would you say, because you have given men a tool that they could use to really get their stuff together as far as in a relationship. But in the meantime, while the men are getting themselves together with this new profile knowledge and wisdom, how can a woman help him even though they're tired of being helpmate?
Buy the book, read the book, and see what you should be asking of a man. Because there's a lot in that book that women don't realize they should be asking too. And I would love young women to read this book and then hand it to their brothers or their uncles or cousins who aren't, and say, I read this book and it's helped me a lot to know what I'm looking for when I'm looking for a guy. I want these things. If you're not the girl that wants a guy to open the door for you or order your meal at a restaurant, then make it clear to him that's not who you are. And if you are, then make it clear to him that that's who you are. And find that guy. And if you have to, help him become that guy a little bit without training him and badgering him and beating him down. Just get him to understand what you need. We're not going to very few people are going to come together with 100% match. I got everything I need, you have, and everything I have, everything you need, I have. No. If you can get to 80 or 90%, that's fantastic. If you get to 70, that's fantastic. The other 20, 30, 40%, you got to look at it and say, well, I'll give this if you'll give this. Okay. All right. Don't open my door. That really makes me bad and feel bad. My brothers were, did that when I was a kid and I felt stupid. I felt like I was less of a female. I felt like powerless. Or open my door. I really wish somebody would do that. Whatever it is, compromise. And no one wants to compromise. They want 100% match. Everything's going to be great. Good luck. Let me know how that works out for you. You can't. Find somebody that your soul matches with as much as conceivable.
Because you even mentioned tenders, how women are being disappointed because they're not being completely honest about what they want. And then when it don't come out the way they just assumed, then that's...
Well, they're lying. They go on dating sites like Tinder particularly and say, no, I'm good with a hookup. No, they don't mean that. They don't mean that. That whole chapter is a lot of fun. The different scenarios of how people, it's a lot of fun, that chapter. But I really thought that through, the different stories of this girl wanted this, and she said this, and and they're saying it's okay. No, I just hook up with you. I'm not really looking for a relationship. Bullshit. Women are looking for a relationship. I call BS, because they are, and they just, even if they say they're not in the moment, eventually they do want that. It may not be today or even tomorrow. They want it down the line. And men, I think they don't want it. They think, no, I don't want that. I just want to be free. I want to do what I want. They don't want that. They want a relationship. Everybody's lying to everybody, So the guys go on Tinder because their immediate concept is, I just want to have sex with this girl and then tomorrow night that girl, because that's going to be great. And they do that for a couple of years, and they start to feel like this is stupid. Whereas girls say they want that, and they don't really want it, and they know that more immediately. And so then the guys get mad because everybody's lying. Everybody would like to be in a relationship. Almost everybody. Most people want to have something. Who wants to get sick all by themselves?
Right.
Who wants to go on a vacation alone, or even drink a friggin' glass of wine by yourself? Who wants to do that? Most people don't. They want somebody to have a meal with. They want somebody when it's cold at night to put their feet up against. It's just, they want that, and it's okay and normal and natural to want that. But you just have to figure out how to talk to each other and connect and have your energy match and all that, right? Especially
as you get older, you don't want to have to just keep starting over and over and over and over.
No, it's been no picnic. I was with the same woman for about 10 years. We didn't work out. We floundered around for another 3 years of trying to figure out what we wanted to do, not to hurt each other, and we hurt each other anyway, and and went on our separate ways. And like I said, this is not like boastful or I'm so great, because I'm not. I'm not that great looking. I'm not that great anything. It's pretty smart. I'll say that. But there's always a woman who'd like to go out with me. It's just always. I don't know. I'm kind of funny and I'm charming and I make a decent living and I'm nice and I'm kind and So it wasn't that I couldn't find another girl or that there wouldn't be another girl. It's just that when you're in a relationship that far, you try to make it work, and sometimes it just isn't going to work. Our dynamic was not going to work. I am a door opener. I am the person who opens the door. I am the one who orders the food at dinner. I am the one who takes care of things and fixes things. Make sure that things go right. And that works for the person I'm with. That's not that I'm presently now with, the person I hope to spend the rest of my life with. At this point, I'm not changing again. so forever. So.
If anybody wanted to get in touch with you because of your what you have to offer, it's not just that book. I mean, your web consultations. I mean, that's awesome. I mean,
I would love to do. I'd love to do speaking engagements. I'd love to talk to people about anything. If there's groups that want to get together and talk, men and women who want to talk about stuff, I'll be happy to do it. But you can get a hold of me. You can get me at Lil, L-I-L, at theghostpublishing.com. That's the easy one to remember. It's the word ghost, the word publishing.com. That's an easy way to get me. On Facebook, I'm Lillian, Lillian, A for middle initial, Barcaski, B as in boy, A-R-C-A-S-K-I. So it's Lillian A. Barcaski on Facebook. Facebook friend me. The book has its own Facebook page too. If you look for Why Your Women Are Leaving You For Me, you'll probably find the Facebook page pretty easily. I can send you all that if you want to put any of that up. And I have a website, lilisms.com. And that's the book. I tell my Lilisms, it's Lilisms, lilisms.com. And you can find all my little words of wisdom there, some blogs that I've written in the past, and my book is available there and on Amazon, of course. So
I appreciate all your giving. And Lil, you are on the Truth Will Set You Free show. Give us a truth to remember you by.
Okay, what's the truth to remember me by? All right, my number one Lilism. Are you ready? Save yourself and the world will follow. So get yourself right. And if you get yourself right, everything's going to fall into place. Okay?
All right.
All right, cool.
I really appreciate you being on our show today.
You are delightful. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You have to come back,
I absolutely. When I get the next book written and talk about that, my new play.
Right. They have one coming out tomorrow. Is it coming out tomorrow, or are you just screening it tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we're just reading through it. We're going to start promoting it and hopefully present it to some theater companies. It's a play that actually talks about the aftermath of sexual abuse in the military. And it's an interesting combination of people who wind up in a restaurant together that have all been involved in the same kind of melee. And it's called Bang Bang Charlie Foxtrot. And
Wow.
we play about these 4 people, and 3 of them have been did not realize they had been in each other's lives previously, involved in the sexual assault. And now it's 10 years later, and this is how they're trying to pull the pieces together.
You have to let me know when that can be seen, because I definitely have an interest there.
Well, I'm going to try to pitch it to some of the theater companies in the Washington, D.C. area, which is close to where I live. So that's my goal.
Well, I hope that really brings great success for you.
Thank you. I'm hoping so too.
Please keep me updated to the progress of that.
I will. I will.
Hey, look, if you have one of them private viewings that I can see it online too.
Okay. Well, right now we're reading it to get it really solid, and it'll go through another round of changes, and then it'll be set up to be sent out to theater companies.
Well, how did you end up with an interest in that?
I was actually the producer of a show called War Virgin, which was written by a young lady. She wrote a book called War Virgin, and she was in the Iraq War and the invasion. She was in one tour in Iraq, and she wrote this kind of comedic story about her life growing up and how she was very religious, and her dad talked her into going to the military, and she went, and bam, she gets out of West Point, and next thing you know, the towers fall. She's heading for Iraq. Oh no!
Wow.
She was thinking she was going to sit on her dead butt and do paperwork, and turned out she wound up in Iraq. So she wrote this funny thing about how she came to her sexual awakening and her life awakening in Iraq, and stopped being the good girl, started being the bad girl. So we did this fun show, and we were running around the country, up and down the East Coast, producing it in different cities and different venues. And I directed and produced it with her, and co-produced it with her, and I directed it primarily. And one day I watched a film. We went to a presentation where she had to speak, and I went along with her. And I watched a film about sexual abuse in the military. It was quite an interesting situation. And that not only women, but men had also gone through this, and how rampant it is, and how the aftermath of what some of these women go through later, and men too, and how they just have they lose it. They, sex, drugs, problems after that, because they can't, they're so traumatized. So it gets stuck in my head, and I decided to write this crazy story. And it's a really crazy story. So. Well,
as a veteran, I appreciate it.
Oh, what service?
Army.
Oh, thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
I'm just a kid too.
So, cool. Well, I'll send you a copy of it when it's ready if you'd like to read it. I'll be happy to have you read it.
Take care.
Take care. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.